Going Hunter Thompson here, and I want to walk you through a quick video that breaks down what most operators and capital raisers get wrong when they're thinking about their capital raising process. So for context, I've raised over $100 million. I've done this for mobile home parks, self-storage, office industrial, performing notes, non-performing notes, basically every real estate transaction that exists, and a lot of non-real estate transactions like data centers and crypto stuff and buying existing businesses. Plus, I've also helped over 1,000 people raise money for their deals, more than billions of dollars of assets. And so I've kind of seen the inside of a lot of these businesses. And what I find is before people start working with us, a lot of them are focused on the specifics of their deal. So when I ask people, hey, what's your capital raising process? Usually what they start talking about is the specifics of the deal, and they start basically trying to do what they would do in a typical investor conversation, which is try to go and close me on it being a really prudent and exciting opportunity. And they will go all into the details of the kind of deal that they bought and the kind of deals they want to buy and why they've got this market advantage. And they're really focused on this. And so if I were to ask you, let's say, like, what's your capital raising process look like? Most of it will have to do with word of mouth, relying on referrals, basically using luck as a strategy. And as you probably know, luck is not a strategy at all, and it's certainly not a strategy to scale. Now, this and having a good understanding of your own business and a good reputation, generally speaking, and a good network, if you just rely on that and you have a good ability to communicate, you can close money. You can raise hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars by just focusing on this. The problem, though, is that when you go to put bigger and better deals under contract or do more of the kind of deals you want to do, you can't just close harder. You can't just work harder. You run out of hours in the day very quickly. And so that's where people start Googling around and finding out about us. And so where we come in is helping you really turn your current business, whatever the strategy is, because it's basically irrelevant as long as it's reasonable, we want to turn that into a capital raising machine capable of taking strangers and turning them into 6- and 7-figure investors. So we still want to help you with the close, but the reality is most people are dramatically lacking in at least one, if not three, of these three segments of any normal capital raising business, which we break this down into an acronym called attract, educate, nurture, close. So right now, if I were to ask you, how are you bringing in new investors? How do they find out about you? How do they find out about you at scale? If someone does find out about you and they want to do business with you, or they may even be thinking about doing business with you, are they dropped into any sort of lead nurture, lead attraction, lead education system? Or do you, whenever you meet someone, put them into a Google Sheet and kind of write notes manually? As you probably expect, that's not something that's going to help you scale your business to the next level. So what does help you? This process. Starting out with attracting high quality leads that are interested in working with you for years to come. These are people that are already teetering on the edge of investing in a deal kind of similar to yours and with someone similar to you, and not tire kickers. So whoever can monetize leads faster in business typically wins. So we want to be targeting people that are already basically making a decision to invest. Now, how do we target them? Well, part of it is through advanced technology, and part of it is through content creation. So things like podcasts or webinars or LinkedIn posts that answer the question specifically of people who are already teetering on the edge of investing. Now, sometimes when I've talked to people about this, they go, you know what? I've got a sister that's a high income dentist. She makes a ton of money, $500,000 a year, and all her friends make $500,000 a year. And I've been trying to get her to invest for years. That's like perfect audience. And I'm like, no, because you've been trying to get her to invest for years and she's still not interested. So what happens if we attract a lot of them and it takes another 10 years for you to get them to invest? We want to get people who are already on that bleeding edge. And I'll give you an example. If someone is Googling, which self-directed retirement account custodian should I go with? They're on the bleeding edge of making an investment. So how can we get in front of those people? Thinking about that as a customer journey. That's just one example. I'll give you many. Then once we attract leads that are specific to you and your background, like for example, we recently talked about Tate Duryea, who works with high-income pilots, raised almost $50 million in the last 12 months. Or Courtney Muller, who raises money from oil and gas and for people that want to save on W-2 income. Or from Caleb, who raised $16 million in 1 month, mostly from the top 1% network marketers. Now, you might be thinking, you know what, I'm not a network marketer, I'm not a high-income pilot. Well, I get that. That's not really the point. The point is, what can we identify about you and your background to attract the right people to you, that they'll really bite in and see the story and invest in you? That way the deal becomes almost irrelevant, which is basically taking this whole process and putting it upside down. Once we've attracted them, then we use sequences, automations, follow-ups, technology to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you through selling one-to-many versus one-to-one. Basically warming up strangers to one-to-many selling, gaining their trust without taking your time. And we do this by dropping them into proven 100+ automations, sequences specifically designed to get people interested, engaged, excited, and confident that they can make a decision and that you're the right person to go with. We have done this across multiple asset classes, like I said, for over 1,000 members. Now, some people see this and say, you know what, Hunter, I'm not a marketer. I don't want to deal with technology. That's not what I do either. I don't tinker around with websites. But the truth of the matter is, no one can tell your story the way you can. So what I want you to do is realize that while you may not consider yourself a marketer, it's kind of like being like, I don't really like sales. Well, you want to raise more money, right? Marketing is a way of taking sales and making it one-to-many. And no one can really do this better than you. It doesn't mean that you can't go later and hire marketers, but you are the face of the business. You're the owner of the company. It's up to you to attract these people by telling your story. Then, once we've got them in, we've got them educated, now it's time to nurture them. We slowly, through automations and processes, and by I say slowly, I mean over the course of a couple days, can turn these strangers into ultra-high buy-in investors that are ready to send wires from their bank account to yours. We do this through things like lead scoring so that we can outreach to the people that are most engaged. We do programmatic outreach. We also do programmatic content creation, emails, templates that we've used over the years to basically take the key moments that your best investors will have, their highs and their lows, give them a clear vehicle to get from where they want to go to their goals. And you know what that vehicle is? It's a ladder. And that ladder is your investment thesis. Now, the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter what your investment thesis is. That's the reason that I've been able to raise money from mobile home park, self-storage, office, industrial, you name it, I've done it. Because if you do this right, what most operators are falling short of, this becomes easy. When you can highlight those key moments, those highs and the lows, and you can find out how to pull them into your story and into their customer journey, you help them save the pain that they would have gone through. You help them go from having a 10-year goal to a 3-year goal. You can help them save time, achieve their goals, and avoid pain. That's what this whole process is designed to help you do. And then it becomes irrelevant almost what you do down here. Now, everyone watching this video, if you know enough about your own business, you're going to be able to handle this. But the way we do it, we build up so much excitement and confidence that by the time you put out a deal, it becomes funded very quickly. So again, you probably are pretty good at this, but there's a couple of tweaks I'm sure we can give you that'll help you take your business to the next level. But the real question is, how many leads did you talk to last week? How many new prospects did you talk to last week? Brand new. Of those, how many were qualified? How many moved forward? Right? Now, if that's a very, very small number, let's use the last month, the last 30 days, right? You're watching this right now because you have goals that are bigger than those numbers indicate, right? And so if you talked to 2 people last week and none move forward, or 10 for that matter, and none move forward, or 1 move forward, and then you've got a month of that, so you got 4 people moving forward. You need to be able to raise millions of dollars in 45 days to be able to buy the best deals in the country. Not saying that you can't do deals that are 6 figures and sometimes 10 figures, you know what I mean? Or let's say 8 figures. But regardless of what your business model is, you have to be able to predictably raise money. And that's all about taking strangers and turning them to investors, not through you working your butt off every time you have to close a deal as if you're starting from zero, but from using systems and processes to do the heavy work for you. And this, my friends, is why we have had the results we've had. So if this resonates with you, if you feel like you're solid on the close and maybe you're good at attracting people, but you don't have an automated system to take them through, you don't have a way to start selling one-to-many, or your one-to-many strategies aren't working, that's where we come in. If you want to scale, there's only one way to do it. You have to have a system. Hope that helps.